Hello, my name is Melissa Chavez, and I'm here to talk to you about fungi. So, what is a fungi? A fungi, or actually fungus, comes from the Latin word from mushroom. And today we are just going to talk about the classification, structure, replication, diseases, and did you know? So, the classification. Fungi is its own kingdom, and it comes from the domain Eukarya. Three major groups are first the mold, next mushrooms, and last the yeast. So as you can see here in the picture, molds are multicellular filaments. This is where you would usually see in bread. Mushrooms is another form of fungi which we can consume, and yeast. It is mostly used for fermentation, such as, for example, making beer or other baking goods, and we'll talk more about it in a bit. Fungal structure. So, the fungal cell is similar as a plant cell. So it has mitochondria and a complex system of interior membranes such as endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. The rigid layers contained on their cell wall have complex polysaccharides, chitin and glucan, which makes their cell wall pretty thick. And chitin is also found on exoskeletons of some animals. Replication. So, as I said earlier, fungi can be unicellular or multicellular depending on environmental conditions. So, in this case of replication, it reproduces as sexual or asexual. They produce a lot of spores and spread by the wind or ride on animals. They hitchhike on animals. They are aerobic or anaerobic, so meaning that they can grow with oxygen or without oxygen. And most of them are non-motile. Oh, really quickly and briefly. So, the fungal spores are smaller and lighter than plant seeds, but they are not usually released as high in air. The giant puffball mushroom bursts open and releases trillions of spores. The huge number of spores increases the likelihood for spores on lining an environment that will support their growth. So almost like the mushroom just pops open and all the spores comes out. Next, does it cause diseases? So it does. It causes diseases in plants or foods. So in this case, there's a disease of cereal, which is specifically in rye. And when this disease is consumed, it contains alkaloid toxins in humans and animals, which in result the symptoms are convulsions, hallucinations, gangrene, and loss of milk, for example, in cattle. The active ingredients of this disease, which is also called ergot, is lysergic acid, which is a precursor of the drug LSD, which I'm pretty sure at this day and age a lot of people know about that drug and what the effects it does to humans. So did you know? So the importance of ecosystem. So fungi have an importance of in the ecosystem. It supports with soil fertilizing, also with erosion prevention, and it regulates plants from other stresses and diseases. Provision, and as you can see here on the picture, provisioning. It fungi support the consumption of edible mushrooms. There are also some drugs that have began from a fungi. And overall, even though it does have its fungi does have its cons, it also does have its pros. So the decomposition allows for circulating of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus back into the environment, so they are available to living things rather than being trapped in dead organisms. So in a sense, like I said earlier, it gives the soil fertilizations so plants can use those nutrients to grow stronger. So there, I want to also give some benefits. Some of the benefits are that there is an antibiotic penicillin made out of fungus, or fungi, as an example that you see here on the picture on the right. So this is was discovered as a means of fighting off bacteria, which is really great. And next, fungi also help control the population of damaging pests. So this would help regulate that balance of making sure that pests don't overcome us. And then, as I said earlier, there are valuable drugs isolated from fungi, which include immunosuppressant drugs, which in this case would be an example of making sure that if someone were to get a lung transplant, that the body would not reject the lung, to make sure that it knows that it is a new part of the body and that it is needed, essentially. Fungi have also been precursors of steroid hormones, which are used for an example of people who have cancer, and ergot alkaloids, as I mentioned earlier, that are here. Let me bring it back. That have symptoms of severe symptoms, as like I said, hallucination, gangria. So actually can also be used to stop bleeding. So if you would like to learn more, on YouTube there is a video called ash dieback disease, which are trees that are very well known in England, and in this short video it describes about the epidemic that they have in the trees with a fungus that is causing the trees to die rapidly. And they, over the years, they have studied how fast they have decayed the trees and other interesting facts about how it has made an impact in their ecosystem. And then you can also find more information about this on the website called microbiologysociety.org. And that is it. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you found this interesting just as I did.